Today I'm going to be playing a Patreon deck from Bob the Warrior. So this deck is called Girl Power because it has giants, it's an even deck, and it's also a RenoLock. Gerl. So anyway, it looks like we've also got a couple of old gods. I guess Cthulhu doesn't interfere with Gen Greymane, huh? That's kind of interesting, even though they're 5-cost cards. So yeah, let's take it for a spin, see how things go.
All eyes shall be opened.
Definitely keep Kazakus because I'm a Kazakus deck. And I think I keep Gnome Feratu against Priest, right? Because of its Highlander Priest and they play Polkelt, I can snipe their Shadow Reaper Anduin.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
So yeah, like I'm not playing this Gnome Feratu on 2, I'm pretty sure. Of course my opponent's probably Big Priest instead of Highlander Priest, but whatever. Zephyrus is nice. If I play Zeph next turn, it's going to offer me 1s or 4s. It'll give me a Twilight Drake, right? That's kind of sick. Will it give me Mountain Giant? No, because Mountain Giant's not in Standard, right? I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be using my Zephyrus like this, but seems like a Twilight Drake is pretty good next turn. We actually don't play Twilight Drake in this deck, which might be a mistake. Ten cards in hand, so we're not tapping, therefore we're just playing Twilight Drake. I like how the history bar is just me life tapping 3 times in a row. But now things are happening. Okay, it is Big Priest. Really? Reliquary of Souls. I could life tap Brittlebone Destroyer, but I overdraw the card and Brittlebone Destroyer probably gets better. I think I just want to play Kazakus. Take a 1 cost. My hand is full, so no need to be greedy. I can give my stuff 2 health. Summon a friendly minion that died this game. Summoning a minion that died this game is kind of good because I can trade off Zephyrus and then res it. And then I'll have 2 Zephyrus in my Raised Dead pool. Sure. I don't actually know how easy it's going to be to Raise Dead, like, ever. Because I'm going to keep having a bunch of cards in my hand. I guess next turn can just be like Gnome Feratu, Raised Dead, Zephyrus. Sure. Oh, that was a good hit for me. 2/3 of the time my Twilight Drake took 6 damage there. Alright, well, this Raised Dead either hits 2 Zephyrus or a Zephyrus and a Kazakus. Really bad mill, by the way. Alright, Zephyrus and Kazakus is fine. If I end the turn with Zephyrus, it'll give me a 7. What even does it give on 7? Ancient of War? Gore Howl? Probably want to save Zephyrus for, like, Mass Dispel or Mind Control or something. It's kind of ugly, but I think I just play this. Maybe I'm looking for one of my turns to be like, I tap myself down pretty low and then I can go like Molten Giant and then gain 7 health with the Spellstone. That could be the plan. All the Highlander friends are here together. Well, I think I'm just gonna play this thing because it's kind of big and costs 6 mana. This might be the Brittlebone Destroyer. Alright, that's a nice card to play with the Brittlebone Destroyer. I really don't want this board to get like Psychic Screamed or something. But whatever. I don't think I have much of a choice. Yeah, this was a really strong turn. Next turn I can tap plus Hooked Reaver, that'll be good. Oh, I just Zephyrs here and win.
Your wish is my suggestion.
I think all 3 of those were lethal. Maybe not the Roar or whatever it was. Alright, well that was pretty easy. We just tempoed. Twilight Drake was really good that game, so I might want to put one of those on the deck. Alright, so far I've played a few games with this deck, and they went pretty well overall, I would say. But there are still some changes that I would like to make. So first let's just start with some cards in the deck that I don't really like. Probably the biggest of those is going to be Fellfire Potion. I feel like it's just really hard to justify ever dealing 5 damage to myself. At least when 50% of the wild ladder is Secret Mages. So yeah, Fellfire Potion I just don't like at all. It is one of the few cards to support the Spellstone, but I think the Spellstone will be fine without it. Another card I don't like is Claw Machine. I get that it's probably in the deck for N'Zoth, but we're already drawing so many cards. I don't think we want a big clunky card draw thing. And like giving +3/+3 to a giant or something doesn't really matter at all, they still die to the same stuff. So Claw Machine I don't like. Another big clunky expensive thing I don't like is going to be Siphon Soul. I think it's just generally overcosted for what it does, and in the couple games I play it didn't really seem like it lined up well against anything. Similarly, I think Twisting Nether is just overcosted removal. I don't really like it too much in this deck. There's also Enhanced Dreadlord, which I think is probably just too expensive. It is our best demon for N'Zoth, but with Broodmother, Hooked Reaver, we have a couple cheaper demons as well. I don't really think we need it. And then finally there's Sea Giant. I understand that this is a giant-themed deck, but there are already some other giants we're not playing, and we have 3 other giants that we are keeping in the deck, so I kind of just want to cut Sea Giant. If you're really attached to having a 4th giant, I think maybe Frost Giant would be better than Sea Giant, because we don't really play any token stuff for Sea Giant, and if our opponent has a bunch of stuff in play, we just want to kill it with Defile or Hellfire or whatever. So if you want a 4th giant, I think Frost Giant is probably the way to go. So I guess I want to circle back to this N'Zoth. Now that I've cut Claw Machine, for N'Zoth all we have are a handful of demons, we have a Circus Amalgam, and then we have elementals between Zephyrus, Mountain Giant, and Molten Giant. So I would like to get a few more things in the deck for the N'Zoth if possible. I don't think Murlocs, Totems, or Pirates are going to make the cut, but there is some other stuff we can look at. I guess first we'll look at mechs to replace that Claw Machine. I was actually thinking that maybe Fell Cannon could be decent in this deck. Not really sure if the 2 damage lines up that well in Wild. It probably doesn't, so it probably doesn't make the cut. But it is something to consider. Another consideration is Hecklebot. Just a pretty big taunt minion. But I'm not sure that Hecklebot is even that good against, like, aggro. Like, against Secret Mage, you can pull a 5-5 or a 4-4 out of the opponent's deck. That's not great. But Hecklebot is a consideration. I think if I'm going to force a mech into the deck for N'Zoth, it would probably be Annoyatron. Annoyatron is a little bit small, not that impactful. But it's also just like pretty good to play on turn 2, helps us with survivability, so I think I like it. Other than mechs, we have beasts that we can look at, and there are actually quite a few beasts that would be reasonable. We've got Diseased Vulture, which is good with our hero power, it's good with Raised Dead, it's good with Vulgar Homunculus. Diseased Vulture could definitely be okay, but I do think it's probably a little bit clunky. Other options would be, like, a lot of the aggro decks in Wild play Pirates, so Galaka Crawler could be good. But most of the aggro decks I'm playing against are just Secret Mage. Stubborn Gastropod has seen play in Evenlock before. Plated Beetle is probably just a more consistent option for this slot, although the armor does mess with, like, Hooked Reaver and Molten Giant a little bit. Mana Feeder Panthara could be okay, but I don't really think we need the card draw. I think the beast I want to play is going to end up being Escaped Mana Saber. It's got a decent enough body for N'Zoth, and it's actually just pretty nice for an even Warlock to be able to ramp from 4 to 6, because, well, other than our Cthulhu pieces, we don't really have any 5-cost cards, so it's just a good little point of ramp, I would say. So what else is there? We have dragons next to look at. The dragons are a little bit weird. Well, there is a dragon that I just want to play regardless of N'Zoth, and that's going to be Twilight Drake. If you want a 4th giant, Twilight Drake is probably a better giant than Sea Giant or Frost Giant. Just really, really good card in Evenlock. Other stuff we could potentially play for N'Zoth. One of the cuter ones I was thinking of is Volcanic Drake, because we do play a lot of AoE, so like maybe the Volcanic Drake would be okay. I also considered Crimson Hothead, but I think it's probably a little bit too hard to spellburst in this deck. If you're really worried about aggro, you could even just go Fairy Dragon. Like, Fairy Dragon's fine to play on turn 2. So those are some options. As far as demons go, we already play, I think, 4 demons. But there is, like, plenty of other stuff we could add. Dark Glare. Dark Glare would be fine. It's good with our 1 mana hero power. Fire Breather could be decent. Void Caller if you want to play some bigger demons. You could play Ticketus, you could play Ring Matron, Abyssal Summoner. If you want to go like really heavy on demons, you can play Archwitch Willow. You can even play a Blood Reaver Gul'dan package, which honestly, I have to imagine that the Blood Reaver Gul'dan stuff is probably just better than playing N'Zoth. But we do have N'Zoth in the deck already, so I'll try it out, and I'll say that the demons we have already are fine. So outside of N'Zoth, what is there? I am playing against Secret Mage, and every time I play Wild, half of my opponents are Secret Mage. So I think it just makes sense, especially in an even deck, to include Eater of Secrets. Moving on, I think I want to play Emperor Thaurissan, because this deck pretty much always has like 8 or 9 cards in hand. And then finally, I think a Circus Medic might be pretty good in this deck. Either healing for 4 or dealing 4, those are both pretty good effects. So seems like it could make sense. At this point, we are struggling to find a deck slot a little bit. But I think I've decided the card I like the least currently is going to be Midway Maniac. I could change my mind on that, but I think I like the Circus Medic here. So yeah, this is the 30 card list I'm going to be moving forward with, I think. But there are definitely some other things you could play in this deck. There's a lot of like 2 mana stuff, Dark Peddler, Dark Bomb, Drain Soul. You definitely want to play Drain Soul. I think it's getting buffed in the core set. You'll definitely want to play it then. Even like Soul Shear is fine. I included Circus Medic. There's a similar card, Shroom Brewer, that could be good. Like Bone Wraith could also be fine in this slot. There's a lot of stuff you could potentially play, but as I said, I think this is the 30 card list I'm going with for now. Warlock is probably going to be a control deck, right? Guess we'll keep Gnome-Feratu for turn 2. Maybe I hit a nice high roll on Blood Reaver Gul'dan or whatever the heck the Warlock is doing.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
We're both even. But only one of us plays Cthulhu. I'm not sure if tapping is better than playing a 2. I don't think it is. Vulgar Homunculus is bigger, and it activates the Amethyst Spellstone, so I think I like playing it here. The opponent tapped instead of playing a 2. Maybe they didn't have a 2, I don't know. Twilight. I actually don't know if I should have hit for 2. That does get my opponent closer to Molten Giants and Hooked Reavers. Coin tap. Into a Mountain Giant. Pretty good. I think I want to get value out of Cascading Disaster in this matchup. So this deals 5. I could just straight up kill this thing. I think I'm okay with tapping here. And I think I'm okay with going face. This thing goes in here as 6 health. Body of Cthulhu lines up nicely against it. Faceless Shambler. Okay, well, I don't love this turn, but we do upgrade the Cascading Disaster here. Maybe I should have traded Gnome-Feratu in, actually. That way either one of them would die on the 6/6. But I guess if he's double value trading here, including 8 damage into a Gnome-Feratu, that's fine. And if there's a spell to remove the 6/6, that means probably no minion, which means Cascading Disaster is good. God, you hate to see that. No, go face. It's 8 damage. Come on, buddy. Shadow Rune? Easy. So Raised Dead has a couple 2-drops and then this Zephyrus, potentially. Raised Deading Zephyrus plus Gnome-Feratu I think would be really strong. There's my man Reno. So I can tap up to 10, Thorson down to 9, Raise that up to 10. So I don't want to do that. Let's just go tap Thorson, I guess. Nine discounts is quite good. And that upgrades the Cascading Disaster. And Dark Bomb is definitely not what I was hoping to see the opponent overdraw. The opponent decided they wanted Fire Breather in the Raised Dead pool. That doesn't seem right. So, Cascading Disaster only kills 2 here when it could kill 3. I could just go for like Spellstone Circus Medic. Hellfire Spellstone maybe. I don't know. Cascading Disaster is probably fine here. Kinda wanted to play Kazakus, but I would have overdrawn. I actually have a lot of damage in my hand between Circus Medic, Hellfire, and Eye of Cthulhu. I guess that's something I should be keeping an eye on. Yeah, 2 7/7s. Okay, Maw of Cthulhu is nice. Let's go Maw Spellstone. Didn't hit Zephyrus, unfortunately. I think I do like the Spellstone here. I know like back in the day with Even Lock, you really wanted to keep your health down for Hooked Reavers. And I guess I do play Molten Giant now too, but I don't know, it doesn't seem super important. Plus I have so much damage in my hand that like pushing this 4 seemed really good. Wow. My opponent raised edited what, 3 8/8s this game? Oh, I actually just have lethal though. Nice Giants, idiot. Well, I'm not sure if that's how that matchup is supposed to play out. Oh, it's been so long since I played against a mage. So exciting. I think I have enough 2s that I mulligan these mediocre 2s. Try to hit Zeph, Reno, Kazakus. Kartut Defender's nice, but the rest of this hand is really trash.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
I have a very mediocre hand. I care more about tempo than value in this matchup, so let's get the homunculus down.
An incredible discovery.
Eater of Secrets is very nice. Probably just coin out Mana Saber here.
We have many secrets.
My opponent does still have a 0 mana secret in their hand. I really wish they would play it so I could eat it. I think I'm just gonna eat here anyway. Counterspell, sure. This Mana Saber. If I punch with it, I can tap, which I don't really care that much about. But I don't know, I think it's good. I was thinking about saving it to guarantee a turn 5 Kartut Defender, but like, I just don't need to do that right now.
You're not ready for this.
It does make sense that the opponent has Flak Mage since they were holding that 0 mana secret.
I'm late. I'm late.
The opponent's down one counter spell, so I think I'm kinda... It's kinda worth just going for Heart of Cthulhu. Actually, I guess I can test with Raise Dead anyway, and Raise Dead gets me an Eater of Secrets much of the time, so... Yeah, let's go for this. I got the bad end of my Raise Dead, but that's okay. Let's just kill this, I guess. So next turn I can play Molten Giant plus Cartute Defender, maybe?
I intend to deceive.
Oh, my Molten Giant! Unlucky. Cascading Disaster kills these. Cascading Disaster gets counterspelled. I can still do something with Zephyrus, I guess. Okay. Let's play Doomsayer here. I was kind of hoping that would need an Explosive Runes, honestly. Do I ever tap? Probably not. I'd rather have health than play Molten Giant, I think. And, like, this would be an okay turn for an opponent to just fireball me anyway. The opponent fireballed me. I could try to Zephyrus for Flare here, but... Well, let's go ahead and play Molten Giant and see what happens. Okay, sure. It's nice to not take any damage off that. I know this isn't like a counter spell or anything. I think I just want to heal with Zephyrus here. Please give me Holy Light. Rigged fair game makes sense. Seems hard to die from 15. I've actually seen 2 Cloud Princes already, so my opponent might have a lot of trouble dealing this damage. 2 fireballs, obviously, but there's 3 more damage that needs to be dealt.
I'll show them. I'll show them all.
That card in hand is a secret. I wonder if I can read into that being a 2-of secret, since they have Mad Scientist in play. I don't know what that would mean, though. I've seen Counterspell, Explosive, and Rigged Fair Game already. Netherwind Portal, I guess. Well, I know it's not explosive, so... Could have checked for Flame Ward, I guess. Wow, it actually is Flame Ward. I thought it was pretty unlikely to be Flame Ward. This card is a secret. I can tap here. I have a Cartute Defender in play anyway. Like, I know I'm never getting double fireballed this turn, so tapping here is fine. And I don't know, I probably don't need to draw Reno to win this game. Not too upset if this gets counterspelled. So I wonder if this is like really likely to be another Flame Ward, given how things played out. Oh cool, they win the game. Nice. I don't actually have to play Reno this turn, because I can never die next turn. Actually I can if this is rigged fair game. Surely the opponent would have played this if it was rigged fair game. I mean, there's just no reason to take the risk, though. Just play Reno, it ends the game. Oh, it is rigged fair game. Didn't my opponent hold that? That's really interesting. You're damn right I win this one. Alright, so at this point I've played 12 games with this deck. And in those 12 games, 6 of my opponents were playing Secret Mage, so that was fun. But more broadly, 10 of my 12 opponents were playing aggro. And in the 2 non-aggro games I played, I didn't even come close to needing all of the value in this deck. So I think I want to slim it down a bit. I think I made it known that I didn't really like the 4th Giant, and the Frost Giant performed even a little bit worse than I thought it would. So I think I'm going to cut this. We still have 3 Giants. These are the best 3 Giants by far. I think it's fine. I also just want to cut N'Zoth. I talked a bit about how I think Blood Reaver Gul'dan is just better than N'Zoth. So I would cut N'Zoth either way. But given the stuff I'm running into, I think I just don't want to play either. And then now that I've cut N'Zoth, it probably makes sense to cut this Circus Amalgam. And we can also cut this Annoyatron that might not have been worth it with N'Zoth anyway. I did put in a Twilight Drake and an Escaped Mana Saber. I think both of those make the cut without N'Zoth, so we're going to leave those in. So probably the best card that I wasn't playing already is going to be Caladan. I think it's just very strong in an even Warlock deck. I think a 2-drop that could be really good for us is going to be Sun Fury Protector. It gives us a little bit more usability on our Giants. Good with the Twilight Drake as well. And against aggro decks, it's fine to just slam a taunt on like an Eater of Secrets or even a Circus Medic or something. Something else that I think could be good in this deck is going to be Cult Neophyte. I feel like we can play our Giants and then our opponent tries to Mass Hysteria, but if we can delay that for a turn, I think that could be really powerful. And we could probably use the 2-drop at this point. Other good 2-drops would be like Plated Beetle, probably the next best one. But I think the card we're not playing currently that I most want to include is going to be Bone Wraith. Just a really solid taunt option for the deck. But there are plenty of things you could play, like 2-mana removal spells. Shroom Brewer is good. I did play against an even Warlock that was playing Faceless Shambler. I don't think we use it as well, but could be a worthwhile inclusion. I think this is going to end up being a pretty solid list, though. Definitely a lower curve, but based on what I was running into, I think that's appropriate. Actually, let's go ahead and cut this Corrupting Mist as well. I think I would rather in this slot just be playing like a Dark Bomb or maybe a Soul Shear. So yeah, this is the set of 30 that I like. If you get higher on the ladder and there's less aggro, I would say the next step would be adding Blood Reaver Gul'dan, but we might not even need that since we do play Cthulhu. So yeah, anyway, thanks to Bob the Warrior for the Patreon support and for giving me the deck. And with this, I think I've played all of the Patreon decks that have been sent to me. So if I still owe you a deck, please go ahead and send it to me on Patreon. And whether I owe you a deck or not, please subscribe to the YouTube channel.